I've met 5 billionaires one-on-one. All of them shared the same thing. In this video, I'll reveal why you're working too hard and not getting the results you really want. You'll learn how to apply what I've learned from these 5 billionaires to get way more done, way faster, and easier. All the billionaires I met started from the bottom, just like you and me. They built one thing over years. Often it took decades, and most of their wealth came from one single business. Sure, they all had hobbies and other ventures, some had kids, and some had other things they had to take care of in their lives, but everything ultimately came back to one single business that drove everything for them. All of them, majority of their wealth was created from that one company. And so the big lesson that I learned from these 5 billionaires is you must focus. There's a superpower in focusing, and none of us want to do it because it's not fun. Because we'd much rather pursue 20 different things at once and not have to commit to anything. And that's how we'd prefer to live our lives, where we're going to get a lot more out of it if we choose our battles and do one thing great rather than 5 things mediocre. And so related to focus, you sort of see this even when you interact with them. I had a 15-minute meeting one time. Literally 15 minutes is all he could allot for me with one of the billionaires. He was 100% focused when he was with me, sat across the table just like this. He wasn't checking his phone or looking around, and it really made me feel like I was the only other person in the world at that time. And so these people apply focus not just on a broader level in terms of how many businesses or projects they pursue, but also even how they interact with people one-on-one. Because your reputation is built not just by the big actions, the big things you do in life, but by all the little interactions people have with you over your lifetime. And you want to make all those little things count. And so when you're doing one thing, do only that one thing. And this applies even when you're not interacting with people, even when you're working on something in your business or something in your career, or you're working out, or you're interacting with a spouse or a kid or a parent or a stranger. If you can devote all your attention to one thing at a time, you're going to get far more out of your life than if you're constantly darting around trying to do 20 things at once, but doing nothing well. Next, related to focus, that what I learned is it really takes a lot of time and effort to get on these billionaires' calendars. For one of them, because I was really interested in meeting him and having him at one of our live events, it literally took months and probably 3 or 4 different people and a personal connection and $350,000 donation to his charity to be able to meet him one-on-one and share his story and experience and be able to interview him on stage. And so it takes a lot of time and effort to get on these people's calendars. Once you get there, though, you get this amazing presence because they know they've committed to this thing and they're going to go all out. So the most common answer you get when trying to reach out to these people is no, because they've learned that protecting their time is incredibly important. Because no matter how successful they are, they have the same reality as all of us. You only get 24 hours in a day and have only so much time in a week and a month and a year to accomplish literally everything in your life before you're gone. And so they've realized this the hard way, is that they're going to have so many people reaching out to them because they want things just like we all do, but they're at a different sort of level when it terms of people wanting their time and attention, that they must protect that critical asset. And so your time is the most important thing you have when it comes to creating success. Do not waste a single minute. This is the biggest difference between people that achieve even moderate success versus other people, is that what I've noticed is that most people, when they don't really move their life forward, is they're wasting all their time. They get up and maybe they check social media and maybe they hang out with some people, and then maybe they're scrolling through the news or watching the news, and they do the bare minimum at work or bare minimum in their business. And then they wonder 5 years later why they've gotten nowhere, versus these other people, not even just billionaires, but people that are, have done reasonably well. They're hustling. They're making sure that they wake up, they take care of their family, they take care of their health and everything else they have to. But then every other waking moment, unless they're having fun, is devoted towards moving their life forward, either learning or working on something in their business. And so big lesson here is you must protect your time, and you must protect it from the person who wants to steal it the most, which is yourself. Also, and just because somebody's worth a lot of money does not mean that they're a great person. There are plenty of billionaires out there who, my opinion, outside looking in, they're not fantastic people. But fortunately, the ones that I've met, I believe, have tried to live with good values. They've tried to create great products. They've tried to treat employees and partners well. They're, in my experience, interacting with them, kind of strangers and kind of people like me that they don't know at all and are just trying to grab a little bit of their time and some of their wisdom. And I think in most cases, at least the ones I've interacted with, they've figured out a way to use their success to do good for others. Sure, they want to build more things and achieve more stuff and buy nice houses and all that kind of stuff. But I think there's a big underlying push in themselves to do something with that success that's good for others because they've realized along the way that more money is not necessarily the answer to a greater life. And so I believe that these higher values create higher levels of success. That's been my experience in my own personal life and from watching and interacting with other people at a much higher level. Because what happens is a lot of times when things are going well in the economy and businesses in general, that you'll see these people that are not such great people, that they look like they're having all kinds of success, and they are externally. And then whenever those times reverse and you end up in a bad time, you realize that those people were not that great. All of a sudden, they comes to light that they were screwing over employees or customers or investors. And you realize that the good people that have been living with good values, creating good products, treating people well, they tend to keep rising, whereas these other people kind of go up and then they go off a cliff and you never hear from them again. That happens all the time. And so I believe that living with these higher values, being a better person along the way, while you're also working hard and focusing, allows you to have much more longevity in your success, which I believe is one of the biggest keys to all of this. Because to win the game, you must first stay in it long enough. Because a lot of times to build something amazing, it takes a really long time, years, if not decades. And so while they're living with these better values, they're also making sure to take care of their health, such as getting good sleep and exercise, their relationships, and because some of these things in life, we're all kind of juggling these balls, and some are rubber balls. Some things will bounce back. If you lose a little bit of money, if you mess up an investment, if you do something that doesn't work out in business, those are rubber balls that can bounce back. These things happen all the time. Everyone has always had setbacks at every single level of success. That's just part of the game. But some of these balls in life that we're juggling are glass. They're not rubber. And so things like your family, your relationships, your health, some of those things, you drop them, you may never be able to pick them back up. They may never bounce again, such as a damaged relationship. Or I've seen some of these people, entrepreneurs, that have had some success, but they just completely burnt themselves out and completely neglected their health for 3-4 years while their company was scaling very quickly. Most of those people I see never rebuild from where they were at before because they lost all those habits, they lost all that momentum, and they never rebuild that area of life. So I've seen the most successful people that I've been around at the highest level, most of them don't forget that fact, and they make sure to devote some time to maintaining those areas of their life, no matter what level of success that they're working on at the time. So the goal here is to treat your life more like a marathon, less like a sprint. I also recently read the book Trillion Dollar Coach about Bill Campbell, who was a coach to some of the world's most successful Silicon Valley area entrepreneurs, even Steve Jobs, even the founders of Google. Absolutely insane. He was a football coach that ended up coaching these high-level executives in life. And they almost wrote this book as a tribute to him, even though they were probably going to get absolutely nothing out of it. And at the end of the book, they talked about ways to stay engaged throughout life. And they gave the lesson that stuck with me since I read this is don't be a dilettante. They said, don't just do a portfolio of things. Whatever you get involved with, have accountability and consequence. Drive it. Focusing your time, your life, your attention, your energy, plus caring about what you're doing, committing to something important, I believe is the keys to a great life, whether you wish to become a billionaire or not. So no matter how successful you get, commit to what's next and don't just dabble your way through life. If you want more lessons from the people that I've met, from my own experience generating $500 million in sales, subscribe to my channel and subscribe to my newsletter below.